introduce you to the new thing that I've been working on. It's going to be a course, full enterprise app development, which we will go through. I believe it's gonna take like a couple of months to go through it. I'll be posting the videos as we are building these. If you are not subscribed to the channel, I would suggest you to subscribe now so that you can stay updated with the new videos as we post them. So what is an enterprise app looks like when we are building in the real world? Like, you can go through all the Swift UI, Swift tutorials, learn about that, but until you build an app which go through all the real world problems and scenarios, you will stuck at just learning stuff. So I would encourage you, when you are going through this course, just follow along, try to build what we are building here, and then try to do more things, and think about different scenarios which can happen when you are building the apps. First and foremost, which I believe is the most important thing while building any app, is the human interface guidelines, which are really important if you are building apps. Let's quickly have a look at the human interface guidelines. You can go to developer.apple.com/design, and you will see there are so many guidelines that are given by Apple while building the native apps. You wanna go is, you wanna go to guidelines, and once you open the page, this is a very overwhelming page. There's so much information about the new spatial computing designs and immersive experience and all the iOS stuff that you can see here. But what you want to do is just go to the left side in the menu. There are different platforms that you can see, which you can go directly. If you're building for tvOS, you can go there, but I would encourage you to, rather digging into those, just read the foundations first. This is the thing that you want to read first before going into the deep. They have given really basic foundational things here which you want to know before you build any native iOS app. Next thing is customer centric. The all the enterprise app, even if it is a B2B or a B2C app that you're building, the end user experience matters a lot. So you need to follow the human centered design, human interface guidelines. Make sure that you are adding a value to the product which helps the end user. Any app that you build which is being forced onto the user, like they need to use it, and there's no other way, and it is being told by the higher management that you need to use it, it's not gonna help until unless that app is usable and solves the problem that people are facing in the real life. It won't lead to the adoption. So building your app keeping the humans in mind will help you improve the adaptability of the app. So whenever you are building the app, keeping the customer in mind, keeping the humans in mind is really important. There's a human centered design which you can follow while thinking about your users and your customers and who are the end user for your app. The human centered design, if you look at the Wikipedia and see, the thing that comes is very important is the last line here. So you need to, before you even start implementing the solution, there are a few things that you need to take care. You need to observe the problems within the context. Let's say you are building an app for a ice cream truck, and how they are, how they work and everything. You can think about, you can research on Google and everything, you can build a persona and everything, but until you go with an ice cream truck driver on his ice cream truck and observe how he start his day, what he do, what he does during the day, and how he finishes his day, and what are the things he need to take care during the day, and just try and understand and observe the problem in the context while it is happening. Don't assume anything. Don't just read something on the Google and just believe that this is how it works. No, go with the end user, try and find the problems within the context when it's happening, brainstorm them, like why this problem is happening, what are the other ways they could have done better. Ask questions as much as you can, talk to them. Conceptualize means create your flows, workflows, use cases, find the threads that connect all those things together, and then start developing the concepts on top of that. This is using a paperwork, maybe he can digitalize it, use an iPad there, which is easier, or use voice commands because he is doing stuff. So stay with the human, do all the research, do all the brainstorming, find the threads, and then develop concepts. And that's at the end comes the implementation. Until you understand the whole problem and what you are doing, it's really 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 bad idea to just go and give your money to somebody and we have this problem which we know, and then just start building it. Don't do that. Always get your designers in first, get the mock-ups done, wireframes done, show it to the end users, would this solve your problem and stuff like that. So keep humans first while doing anything before you start building an enterprise an app. The app should be reliable. If I'm using the app and it's crashing and it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, and then it's loading a lot, and the network connectivity it's not handling, the offline capability and everything, it's not gonna make you look good. So always feel that all the scenarios, because it's a mobile device that you're building for. So think about, network goes wrong, it's not able to connect, or the memory is not that much as it's in web. So you need to consider that. You need to make sure that app is performant and it's not going to consume as much memory as you have available in the web when you're working in the web, when you're designing for webs apps. So keep that in mind as well. The device that you're building an app for, let's say you're building for an app and it's a very personalized device, people use it on their everyday use. You want to make sure that their privacy is intact and your app is secure enough when it's talking to the backend. Keep all the consideration, follow the guidelines for security and privacy by Apple and the industry standards. OWASP has mobile security guidelines which you can follow, similar to web. And how you handle your password and everything, how you handle your local storage data. Don't just save in user settings or anything your sensitive data. So follow all the secure guidelines and privacy related stuff. A maintainable, what I mean by maintainable is, let's say you build an app and it's out there, people are using it, and then now organization needs to maintain it. If your app is not written in a way that it's not modularized, updating to the new version of iOS, it's hard, and your code is not, your components are not flexible enough that you can be easily replace them. So make sure that you consider all those things when you are building your code. Follow industry practices. What I mean by that, there are so many industry practices, but most of the things that I believe will help in a better design and implementation of your component is, make sure your code is modular. You use like dependency injection, and use technologies and concepts like routing. Take care of your navigation, how you're doing navigation in the system, so that it can take care of all the notifications and everything, deep linking and everything. So think about all those use cases upfront when you're designing your app. How you build your network line, does it gonna handle all of, are you gonna hard code URLs, how you handle all this stuff, how you handle your models, how you handle backward compatibility within the app if your API changes. So all those industry practices which you handle in web, you need to make sure that you handle in the mobile app as well. You need to consider that with the mobile app, for example, with the website, if you change something, it's live immediately. But with apps, you need to consider, okay, if you change something, you need to wait until that app is actually on the app store, being downloaded by the users and then used, right? It's not an instant deployment to the production and then they will start using immediately. So keep that flow in mind as well. So if you make a change in the API, if you push it and then users are still using the older version of the app, they still trying to use the same old model that they have with them. So when you're changing your APIs, you need to make sure that you consider the backward compatibility. And because you have a wide range of users which may be on like version 1 to like version 5, so you need to make sure that you consider backward compatibility very seriously when developing for apps. So those are like few things that I wanted to talk about. If we talk about the course details, this is an introduction video where I've just talk about just the basics of enterprise app design, what we think about when we are building an app, and what we are gonna do in this course. This is just an overview and the highlight of a very brief introduction of the concepts that I put there. Some are like very implementation specific, but this is mostly the gist of it, like just to show you what we are gonna do. So we're gonna do API with the ASP.NET Core. It's gonna be a minimalistic. We're gonna start with the minimalistic API, not gonna do anything fancy. So it's gonna be a gradual improvement on like how would a new user would start building the app, and then how would you improve upon that following those standards. So we build an ASP.NET Core API. We build an app using iOS 17, Swift, and SwiftUI. Then how, because we are gonna use a real world scenario here, like you have a backend API and a front end in case will be native iOS app. We are not going to use like core data Swift. We'll use Swift data eventually, but at the end. But it's not something that you do in real world. Like you always have a backend, you have a database, you have APIs, and then you build up on top of it, right? So the main thing is like communicating with your APIs through using a network client. How we build a network client, dependency injection, making sure your components are loosely coupled and they are not tightly coupled, and you don't know how to handle, and then how you mock them, how you write your unit test cases, how you handle routing and navigation. iOS 16 makes it very easy to build routing and navigation within the systems. I believe that's that's what they should have done in the start, but it's a gradual improvement, and I believe it's at a stage where we can use it to build programmatic navigation in the system at one level, and in one component, and it will work. So we can build a router actually, um, and then we'll take care of authentication and authorization. How you handle your B2C connections, maybe sign in with Apple, and email ID and password login. We'll go through that process as well. How you handle your OAuth flow within the app if you want to use like auth0 or something. So we'll go through all those scenarios. So that will be like a big part of the development course as well, because that's the first thing we do when you're building a real world app. You have people using Azure or AWS or some other third party, maybe auth0 for their authentication. So we want to see how we integrate into those. What is the information you need, how you integrate your app into your backend, and stuff like that. We will go deep into how you handle your tokens, use face ID, refresh token, and all that stuff. Notifications is one of the most crucial parts of the apps as well. So we will see how you can configure backend to send notifications to your app, and how you handle your deep linking within the app. If your notification comes, how you load your data, and stuff like that. That's not just what we're gonna talk about. There's much more after that, like offline support, how you design your app, and how you can use SwiftUI efficiently within your app, making sure that you are testing your app properly. We'll look at some of the testing frameworks which we can use, how you do your Swift component testing and SwiftUI like UI testing using we'll be using XCode. So yeah, so that's the highlight of what we will be going through during this course. So this is the first video which I wanted to put out there, just to see if you're also interested in anything else. Just give me a comment in the video, and we'll try to add those things into the course. So Thank you so much, and looking forward to see you in the next video where we build the first component, which is the backend APIs with ASP.NET Core, and then we'll just build a dummy app that will just call the API and just get the data, and then we'll start from there. Thank you so much.